I feel called to share a little about permaculture this morning because it's kind of a good day, a good environment to notice. In nature, there is no rush. There is a balance of life, of death, of growing. Everything that you see is growing, and some of it, and most of it, is growing abundantly. But I mean, look at the grass in the middle of the pathway, that's struggling. Look at the broom at the side, some of that's struggling. You know, depending on your environment, where you fell, if you're a seed, you either have a fairly gentle struggle, or you have a really intense struggle where you're trying to get your roots down and survive on a very rocky ground. And life's like that. And this is what permaculture is about. It isn't about rushing. It isn't about forcing things. It isn't about making the world work my way. Permaculture is about slowing down, feeling into our environment, and finding the right place to sow the seeds, the right place to create, well, birth life into being in a set environment. And to do this, we have to slowly get used to our environment. We have to learn from it. We have to observe it. We have to record it. We have to really tune into our environment. When we just land in a place and create a permaculture project without observing what the water's doing, what the wind's doing, where the sun is, and we just go on in with our egos and develop a home space and a garden and all that kind of thing, that isn't true permaculture, because it isn't taking care of the earth. It isn't being mindful about how we go about our business. All it is big egos coming in and making shit happen, which we do, well, because as human doings, we tend to do that in most, if not all, aspects of our lives. We just plonk in and do. So why am I not creating veg beds and doing all that kind of thing? Because I'm starting with the zones, and zone 0 is the home zone, and everywhere where I go, so putting in the odd tree, creating homes for the animals, seeing where I spend most of my time on the project is all important to do, to observe, to be aware of. And slowly, as things come round to the full circle of being there a year, which right now, I guess we're in the start of our 5 months, it's then time to start working out where I'd like other things to go and develop that. But right now, it's really important to concentrate on having the place to live, to rest, for the animals, where they're living, where they're resting, to make everything as accessible and practical as possible. In the most practical way, you know, turning up and just putting your house somewhere, or just putting the animals somewhere without being aware of where the water is in the rains, not reading the ground, you're likely to have a flooded cabin, like a Himsa's cabin flooded because they put their cabin at the point where all the water meets. That's a human error. That wasn't permaculture. That was learning and not working with what you have and not observing it. So yeah, the cabin was put in the most impractical place. Things like hugel beds and mulching, it's not needed in all over the place. The damage you can do when you just mulch an entire place without observing it and trying to do anything, because you're just doing what you want to do, because you're not observing or thinking about the bigger picture. You just want to fix the ground or something and cover it all with mulch. All you're doing is creating a really acidic bed that's no good for animals, and that's going to take 12 to 18 months before you can do anything with it. And if you do anything with it, you're really going to struggle, because it's going to burn the hell out of all your roots and stuff if you put anything that's young in there. But people call it permaculture, and I think permaculture is about learning, but the more mistakes people make, the more we learn. Look at Jeff Lawton, and he makes plenty of mistakes, and it's really interesting to see how things go and to work things out. But first, taking time to breathe, to pause, and make sure that you're taking care of yourself first. When we do that and take care of ourselves first, we're guaranteed, come on Bear, we're guaranteed to be able to have the energy to take care of everything else without burning ourselves out, and have a really successful environment in which to grow, not just for our plants but for us as well.